we have in Kenya. In fact, sometimes when I looked critically at our Big Four plan and how we ended up not implementing the Big Four, and we ended up implementing the handshake and the BBI and the reggae, to me, it begins to look like it is actually sabotage. That there are people who do not want Kenya to move forward. That there are people who want Kenya stuck in this conundrum because I don't know it benefits who. I mean, that's the only explanation I can have, because I don't understand how you have a plan here to create jobs. You have a plan here to invest in agriculture and increase the productivity of your farmers. You have a plan here for universal health coverage. And all of a sudden, it is not a priority. It becomes a priority to change the constitution, to create the position of prime minister and I don't know what, to have another position called ombudsman to undermine the judiciary, and to give more power to the president to appoint ministers from parliament and all the rest of it. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. So it can only be that there are people whose priorities are different from ours. There are people whose priority is not to create jobs for our young people, or to have universal health coverage, or to increase the productivity of our farmers. And it can only be sabotage so that we can continue to be, I mean, in this space where so few of us have so much, and the majority of the rest are hustling. You know, so this is what we need to address. And many people sometimes ask me, what went wrong? I mean, surely, I mean, if you can see very clearly, because I can see from where I sit, I can see very clearly that the priorities are what we had in the Big Four: to create jobs for young people, to invest in our agriculture, increase the productivity of our farmers, to invest in the right resources so that we can have universal health coverage and lift everybody up. And then all of a sudden, you are told those are not the priorities are this. Unless you are mad, you know, you cannot just sit there and think everything is okay. It's not okay. Are we together? So really, we have an opportunity to sort out our country. And the decision is going to be made by, among others, the people sitting in this audience. Yeah? The people sitting in this audience. So I have told you we have the bottom-up economic plan. And I'm going to tell you one more thing, because I know this is something that you will appreciate, because you participate in this country. I am sure your pay slip reflects matters to do with pension and the savings you have to make, and it is a percentage of your salary. And that is one area we must get it right. The issue of long-term saving and the issue of social security. Today, it will not surprise you that every Kenyan pays 200 shillings to NSSF for pension. How much? I'm not saying $200. 200 Kenya shillings. Do you understand what I'm saying? What kind of saving are you going to make, good people? I mean, we are sitting here with 200 shillings. It's a joke, but it's going on in Kenya. The joke is going on in every... I sent our minister for Social Security to Uganda. In Uganda, you pay 10% of your salary, and the government pays 5%, or is it the other way around? So at least 10% of your salary goes to pension, and it is charge number 1 on your payslip. That way, Uganda has built the largest social security fund in East and Central Africa. It is an economy 30% ours, but they have built social security fund the largest in East and Central Africa. And many of you who are asking, how do we participate? That's one area we will have to figure out how all of us can participate. Because the money that we are borrowing that is now giving us a problem of debt is savings of other people, including you guys here, because you are saving through the laws of this country, and that's the money we are borrowing, and we are paying plus interest to people in Europe and China and all over the place. And we are borrowing everybody's money except ours, because we don't have ours to borrow. So the first thing is that we must build a huge fund of our own money for us to be able to borrow to finance our development. Do you understand? Let me give you some statistics. China, they save 55% of their GDP. We save in Kenya 7% of our GDP. That's the whole difference. That's why we are borrowing from China. We are borrowing from China because they save. And because we don't save, we have nothing to borrow. So we have to go and borrow from. So step number 1 is that the law, we will make sure the law is changed within the first 100 days. Unasikia Kimani? Yeah, so that even if we agree to 5% of everybody's salary to be saved, we will begin the journey to build a huge social security fund that can hold resources that we can use to finance our own development. Tanzania, just across the border, they built their whole Dodoma new parliament, the whole thing, using social security money. Because they also save a percentage of their salary. They don't save 200 shillings like us. Again, I know you are asking yourselves, are we really paying 200 shillings every month? Even if you are earning 500,000, they deduct 200 shillings. From the watchman, the fellow who is earning 14,000, 20,000, to the fellow who is earning whatever. Unaona ile ujinga iko Kenya? Yeah? And it wouldn't have been, maybe it would have been funny if it wasn't serious. But it is very serious. So we need to sort out that space. Again, we have to sort out matters to do with health. Many of you I know, every day, every week, mtu fulani yako mgonjwa, tuma pesa. Mtu fulani yako mgonjwa, tuma pesa. Mtu fulani yako mgonjwa, tuma pesa. Si namna hiyo? We have to sort out that space. And it is as simple as this. When we came into office, let me again give you an example, because I have the benefit of a bit of experience. When we came into office, we had 3.8 million people contributing to NHIF, right? And everybody was contributing 340 shillings. Or is it 320? 320 shillings. Everybody, just like the 200 of NSSF. So we decided to say, okay, why don't we adjust so that the people who earn more, like Deputy President, can pay 5,000. Then the other people can be graduated like that. So we changed the regulation, but we were taken to court by a stupid man called Atuoli. I have no regret to say he's a stupid man, because he is. He's a very foolish person. Because he is supposed to be representing the lower people. What business does he have defending Deputy President not to pay 5,000 shillings? No, no, ujinga. And those are the people roaming the corridors of power and giving us lectures. What lecture are you giving us? So, it is very serious, by the way. So we were taken to court. I was personally involved because I was driving that program. Finally, we got a negotiated settlement out of court. Now, Deputy President is paying 1,700, I think, and a few coins, while Mama Mboga is paying 500. So Mama Mboga, whose income is 5,000 shillings, is paying 500 shillings, which is 10% of her income. Deputy President, who is earning 1 million shillings, is paying 1,700. So Kenya, there's a problem. Because honestly, I mean, the people at the bottom of the pyramid are carrying a heavy load than the people on top of the pyramid, you know? And somebody wants to tell us it is fair. It is not fair. It is not fair. It is not right. It's not even moral. Do you understand what we are saying? So we decided in 2017 that we are going to sort out that challenge. But unfortunately, again, we became busy. We just passed the law this year, which we were supposed to have passed in 2017, immediately after the elections. We passed just the law the other day, and we are now in the process of trying to implement it. Right? If everybody paid a percentage, even if it is 1%, even if I paid 1%, I would pay at least 10,000 shillings. Sendio, I would pay 10,000. And the people earning more money would pay more. And I'm telling you, when we just changed from the 340, the 320 to 1,700, we moved our collection from 900 million shillings every month to about 3.3 billion shillings every month. Today, we are collecting just under 60 billion shillings every year from NHIF. If we made everybody pay a percentage of what they earn, we would actually collect anywhere between 170 or 200 billion Kenya shillings. And we would wipe out the whole issue of health insurance in Kenya. Everybody, including those who cannot afford, we would be able to put them on NHIF. Yes. And I am telling you this out of experience. I am not talking hot air. Because when we made the decision to change the connection of electricity, it looked far-fetched. Today we have results. From 2 million people, we have 8.5 million people. So that's why I was telling you, I have the benefit of knowing what works and how we can change this country fast. So that is why this election is very important to all of us. It is the election that will make us go forward, or an election that is going to make us stuck in the same place. Do you understand? Our competitors on the other side, they are telling us that their first priority is to come and restart the reggae. You know, that's what we are being told by Mzee Tinga. Atakuja kuanzisha nini, akuja badilisha katiba, sijui afanye nini. You know, really, there's a problem in Kenya. You know, with a lot of respect, I don't think the candidate on the other side has the capacity to run a country. I'm telling you. I mean, if you are standing somewhere and you are making a statement, or you are addressing people, and you can't even remember what you are saying, how will you run a country? How will you run a country? You know, we have to be serious. We have to really be serious as Kenyans. You know, we have to stop these jokes. It is not funny. It is not funny. Tuambiane tu kweli. But anyway, that's where we are. So let me tell you and persuade you that the team you see here, we have a plan for our nation. And we are asking you to give us a chance to move Kenya to the next level. Yeah, we're asking you to give us a chance to move Kenya to the next level. And I want to promise you that we will not let you down. We will do our best, and we will work hard, and we will deal with all the issues that requires to be dealt with. Let me conclude by saying the one thing that is also very important, because when you are dealing with public resources, accountability is very important. Making sure that every coin and every cent and every shilling goes to the intended purpose, and that there is sufficient oversight and there is clear accountability mechanisms. As part of our plan, we are going to do three things. Number one, because accountability is at the heart of the performance of any government. Number one, we are going to make sure that the criminal justice system and the judiciary have the constitutional independence that is provided for in the Constitution, but they also have the operational and financial independence for them to be viable vehicles of fighting corruption, of making sure that all disputes are settled in good time, and of dispensing justice in good time, because justice delayed is justice denied. How are we going to do it? Number one, today, the Inspector General of Police, the DCI, the whole criminal justice system doesn't have financial independence because their budget is controlled by the office of the president. And it is said, he who pays the piper calls the tune. True? The Constitution provides that those institutions which are independent, including the IG, the DCI, and everybody else, must have their own independent budget and their own independent accounting officers. We are going to move the appointing, the accounting officer from the office of the president to the IG's office so that they can operate independently of any office and be able to run the criminal justice independently of the executive. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that nobody is telling them, go charge so-and-so, leave so-and-so, go charge so-and-so. That one is belongs to the handshake, so don't charge him. Charge that one. Because he's the one controlling the resources to the investigating agencies. Number two, the Constitution provides that we have a judiciary fund that has not been operationalized the 10 years we've run our new Constitution. We will operationalize the judiciary fund day one so that the judiciary have the resources to make sure they hire enough judges, they have enough software, they have enough hardware, whether it's buildings or whatever, so that they can dispense justice by giving them financial independence. Today, the judiciary is getting half the money the Constitution says they should have. And Ichungwa will tell you it is deliberate to slow down the judiciary. And so that somebody can call the shots and tell the judiciary, if you do this and this, we will add you an extra 1 billion. You must stop that nonsense. You know, let the judiciary be. In fact, I remember one statement Willie Mutunga, our former Chief Justice, made when he was retiring. On the day he was leaving office, he said one fundamental statement. He said he was very happy that during the tenure of President Kibaki, the hotline never rang. The line that normally the president uses to call. It never rang one day for 4 years. And he was very happy that it never rang. You know? Who knows? I don't know whether it rings nowadays. Maybe we'll ask the Chief Justice who is there whether it rings or it does not. At least Mutunga said it never rang. Are we together? Because there is absolutely no reason why anybody can tell the judiciary what to do. And it is brazen and the worst kind of impunity that anybody can imagine that we can change the Constitution so that the president can have leverage to appoint an ombudsman reporting to him to supervise the judiciary. That is impunity of the worst type. I mean, surely. I mean, the president has enough power already, too much power. Why do you need power over the judiciary? Why do you need power over the legislature? And if anybody is not satisfied with the powers the president has at the moment, it's not necessary for you to run for president. It's not a must. Si mwingine ule anaona hiyo powers inatosha, aende afanyie kazi kwa hiyo ofisi. Ama ni aje? Eh? So, this is what I am saying. And let me, I know I have talked for long, but maybe I am talking for the one I was supposed to come and this one. Let me respond to the issues. I hope I am clear on what I have said. Let me talk on the issues Chairman has talked about. Number one, I agree with you that we need to up our game in terms of the quality of service between our embassies and Kenyans in the diaspora. We certainly need, there is some room there for us to improve on the quality of service that's available to Kenyans in the diaspora, number one. Number two, we cannot have an economic conversation or a conversation on the economy in Kenya without the diaspora. Because your contribution is about almost 400 billion Kenya shillings that you send to Kenya every year. And that counts for something. And therefore, your issues are legitimate. Number one, we need to assist you so that the resources you send home work for you and work for the country. We must have packages in 3 areas. We need to sort out first the health issues. Once we have clarity on delivery of quality health, and we have sorted out the matters of NHIF, instead of you guys sending money for this person who is sick and this person who is sick, we will now make it possible for you to pay a reasonable amount and buy insurance for your folks at home. You don't have to be called at night that so-and-so is sick. Insurance should be able to take care of that. So that if you are paying 1,000 shillings or 500 shillings per month to get insurance for your mom or your brother or your cousin, you know that once you are paid that 1,000 shillings, Kenya shillings a month, nobody will call you because they will have a functioning health insurance, and as and when it is required, the insurance coverage will sort out their bills. That is one way we can assist you so that you have predictable mechanisms of how you can support your folks at home without necessarily being, pushed left, right, and center. That's number one. Number two, many of you send money home to build this house and that house, and we all know the stories. That somebody is taking pictures of somebody else building, building whatever it is they are building, or they are building their own house and they are taking pictures and telling you it is your house, and you end up knowing that that was all a story. In our housing program, it will be possible for you to buy a flat or a house in Kenya, like all other Kenyans, which nobody is going to cheat you, You will not be involved in buying cement and buying this and the other, and then somebody. So you can actually buy a property. And we can make it possible for the diaspora to specifically, because of the contribution you make, to specifically have a quota for the diaspora people to buy certain packages. And if there are some concessions to be made, which we can then agree on, then it will be on such packages that if you buy a house, you will get this kind of rebate, or you will get this kind of discount or something like that. Are we together? Or waiver of something. Are we together? Clear packages so that you can buy real estate without struggling with your cousin or somebody who is telling you, send more money, cement has gone up, I don't know, the fundi did what, and the other story went the other way. Are we together? Number three, today in Kenya, 50% of our borrowing is local borrowing. That local borrowing today is actually the biggest beneficiaries are Kenyan banks. In fact, almost 80%, maybe even 90% of borrowing by government, we are borrowing from banks. And banks are making billions of shillings. We tried to reorganize so that ordinary people can borrow, can actually lend to government. Because government is paying 7, 8, 9%. Yet if you go and deposit money in the bank, they will give you 1%. But there are lending it to us as government at 9%. Do you understand? Same Kenyans in Kenya, when you go and deposit money in the bank, they will give you 1%, maybe 2% if you are lucky. But they are lending it to government at 8%. We try to organize so that even ordinary people can lend 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 to government using government bonds. But the banks frustrated it because they brought a lot of manenos. We will now make it possible for you guys in diaspora, instead of keeping your money in the bank here and earning negative interest, we can give you 7% interest at home. Yeah? By having a diaspora bond where you guys can put in your money. You will, number one, assist us with money to run our development program, but you will also benefit by paying you the interest that we are paying banks. If we are paying banks, why don't we pay hardworking people like yourself and other ordinary Kenyans at home? Do you understand? That's the third issue I wanted to say. The fourth issue is what I said about social security fund. You too can contribute your retirement package to Kenya. As we increase the 200 shillings we are paying to a percentage of our salary, you too can benefit in that. So that even as you work hard here, when time is up, you can go back home to a retirement package that gives you a living income as you grow old. Sindio? Back at home. So that can also be worked out. The fifth issue is the issue of you people participating in voting. If there is one right that you cannot give away, is the right to vote. Because you decide how your taxes are used. To make sure that, I know they will come up with resources and things like those, but those are things that can be worked out so that we can give opportunity for Kenyans in the diaspora to vote. On On matters to do with whether we can appoint somebody from or nominate somebody from the diaspora into the Senate or National Assembly, it's a very positive, idea. And for your information, we already have people who are members of diaspora already nominated. In fact, I remember we nominated a lady called Falhada, who was actually, in fact, her children are still here. And I think I even met the sister here. Huyo sister wa Falhada bado yuko hapa. Ndio ule pale. You know, that one there. So, Falhada is a member of the Senate. And we nominated her, and she has been pushing to the extent that she can the diaspora agenda. But maybe we need to contextualize it better so that whether it is Falhada or the next person can actually find a way of making sure that, the problem is that Parliament is in Kenya. So, and when somebody lives here and goes to attend Parliament, then I think they stop being diaspora or something. Because even in that Parliament, for your information, the members of the diaspora, I think maybe 10 or 20% of Parliament is made of people from diaspora. All these people. Susan Kihika there was in the US for 20 years. She's now a member of the Senate. Soipan here was in the US. Owen Bayer here was in the US. Today they are members of Parliament in Kenya. But they are not prosecuting the diaspora agenda. So maybe they are prosecuting it, maybe, I don't know. Kipchumba Murkomen there is a member of the diaspora. He was in the US for donkey years. So I don't know. We need to rethink the whole of that space so that we can structure it better and drive the diaspora agenda properly. There is the suggestion that we have a caucus. There is even the suggestion we have a committee, like all the other committees in Parliament. We actually have a specific committee. I think it was actually that recommendation was made by Kipchumba Murkomen, that we have a specific committee that discusses matters to do with diaspora in Parliament. I think that's another, but we are having a very healthy conversation. I mean, it's just people are now beginning to think of ideas on how we can bring the diaspora agenda into the mix, right? And we need to have that conversation. I hear you when you say maybe even we can nominate people under the category of minorities. You can't qualify to be minorities because you are about 3 million. Minorities are like Okiek, they're like 500 people. we need to rethink of, how do we maybe we just have a commander of sorts. So I think this is the conversation we need to have, and we need to have a back and forth so that we can have a middle ground and see how best do we take it forward. And I think there are leaders here who are listening, and we will all share our thoughts. And what you're doing, you're also provoking us to think, which is a very positive thing. And finally, matters to do with citizenship. First, I know many people, in fact, that's what we were being told in the US, many people are traveling 8 hours to go and renew their passport. I think in the era of ICT, surely we can renew a passport much more easily without really having to travel all this way. Either, even if we need fingerprints, we can have a mobile kit, which can go around every second week. It is in Newcastle, is in the other place, so that we can make it that much more easy for citizens in the diaspora to access services instead of them having to travel long hours to be able to access them. So again, we need to have a conversation there about delivery of consular services by our embassies and leveraging on ICT to a good extent so that we can get most of those services online and we can be able to make it much more efficient. I think those are the issues. On the issue of what was that issue? Citizenship in terms of? Dual citizenship is also already guaranteed by the Constitution. The only problem is that I think there are restrictions on being a state officer. And there were arguments, when we went through the process in Bomas, there were very serious arguments that went into the constitution making. It will require a constitutional amendment for us to reverse that. And it is a very slippery road, because if you go the direction of changing the constitution, it's quite a long shot. And ordinary Kenyans are the majority. They will say, those people who are already enjoying themselves in Europe, why do they want to come and crowd us out of this place? So they will, the ordinary argument, in Kenya, they will not understand. They will say, what is wrong? Kama huyu mtu ameenda na anaona mambo yake ni mzuri huko, si awache sisi pande hii na sisi tu. So anyway, but it's a discussion we can have, sindio? So again, I think those are the issues. Let me not exhaust. We have very capable leaders here. I also want them to speak to us briefly. And if there is anything, good people that I haven't responded to, everybody can respond, including matters to do with NEC. Maybe Alice can respond and other people. So again, let me say how grateful I am. Thank you very much for welcoming us to London. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Thank you. Asante. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the time you have taken to listen to me. I know you're busy people, and I've taken a while. And it's just because I thought it was necessary for us to be at the same level. I will answer one or two questions if need be, but before, let me see whether some of those questions can be answered by my colleagues who are here. I will start again with Kimani Ichung'wah.
Okay. Asante sana, Your Excellency. Watu wa UK, hamjambo? Nilisikia harambe. Muko kwa network. Asante sana. I think I'll try and be very brief. But let me just maybe begin with attempting to answer one of the questions or one of the issues that are of concern. And just to reiterate what His Excellency has said, that indeed the debt burden that our country bears today is one of the areas that people in the diaspora, by investing back home, you can help our country to deal with, be it in NSSF or even in what His Excellency proposes a diaspora bond. The Euro bond that you hear about, and you hear the CES Finance has come on a Euro tour, a roadshow for the Eurobond is basically money that is borrowed from the money you're investing in pension funds here. Therefore, it's possible for you to invest in pension funds back home, and we're able to access that money from our domestic market, and we stop government from crowding out the private sector from the domestic market, and therefore we are able to grow our economy better. I think that His Excellency has said that it is simple solutions to what seem to be very complex problems. And maybe you are there asking yourself, why is it then that he has been deputy president for 9 years and he has not been able to offer those simple solutions besides the ones he has mentioned? And always my answer has been simple, that it is out of sheer incompetence in the highest level of leadership in our country, sheer incompetence, laden with state capture, and of course, overridden by political pettiness. It is political pettiness that when Kenyans are looking at investment opportunities, you shut down an industry that is employing over 5,000 people in Thika out of political pettiness. It is political pettiness and state capture when you see an industry built from the sweat of a hustling Kenyan family, Tabitha Karanja's Keroche company in Naivasha, today is being shut down because you want to bring a Danish company to come and brew beer in a private farm in Naivasha. That is state capture. It is that state capture, political pettiness, and sheer incompetence, and the lack of leaders that will make those simple, bold decisions. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, here, we have a leader in Kenya Kwanza with a team that is ready and bold enough to make those very simple decisions to move our country forward. Mimi nitawaomba tu tushirikiane, muendelee kutuombea, tukiuziwa uoga ama tukipewa bure tusinunue na tusichukue hata ya bure. Si ndio? Hiyo mashamba wacha tuongee siku nyingine, sababu nasikia hata hapa waligawiwa manyumba sijui na mashamba hapa na wenye waliwapea mashamba yetu huko Kenya. Si ni kweli? Lakini wacha nikome hapo, niwaambie tunawapenda sana, na tafadhali all those who are registered as voters, vote for William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza. Do what I heard people in the US tell us they are doing. In your contribution just from where you are, talk to as many Kenyans as you can talk to back home to be able to support this team to move our country forward. Kwa hayo mengi, Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana. Let me ask Soipan Tuya, member from Narok.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. I'm really happy to be here, and it's very interesting, the power of the village, to see a Rungu wielding Masai in London. Thank you, Your Excellency. I think you've said a lot that we could all say, but I just want to tell our brothers here that I don't think there could be any bigger demonstration of commitment from a presidential candidate like we see here with our deputy president. You know what is going on at home? And if this was not important, he could not be here. So that this is a true demonstration that the things we are talking about here are dear to the heart of Kenya Kwanza. Your Excellency, I would suggest that, you know, the exercise that is going on back home, where we are working on charters for different regions in the country, the coastal region, western region, you know, Rift Valley, we really must have a charter for the diaspora. With measurable actions that will actually be realized once you get into power. That is when, not if, when you're there. So I think that should be a challenge to the diaspora leadership, that we begin that process to concretize some of the things we are talking about here for actualization. Your Excellency, the housing idea, or the one that was derailed by the handshake and all these other sideshows, these are the investors, who would come back home, And I just want to say to you, our brothers here, that nothing takes away your rights just because you have chosen to move to another country to do your thing. Your political rights are intact, your social rights are intact, economic rights intact. And I think that is the assurance that we are getting here today from His Excellency, the Deputy President. So I will not take much more time, but just to say, for us, the members of Parliament, both Senate and National Assembly, some of these things, and as I say, your rights in Article 37, 38 of the Constitution, you need to actualize, and it's a challenge to you people that, take your space to participate in the ongoings of Parliament. Bring your petitions with issues that must be addressed, because you are Kenyans and your rights are intact, and no one should interfere with them. And we are here, with the talk of a diaspora committee, a diaspora ministry. These are things that will be actualized. So in the interest of time, thank you very much. Tupeleke salamu nyumbani?
Asante.
Asanteni. Mimi natoka Narok. Mbarikiwe sana.
Asante.
Asante.
Let me ask Beatrice Adagala, all the way from Vihiga.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and the people of the diaspora. Nusu ya kuonana, situsalamiane. Bwana Yesu nasifiwe. Hebu nione wale wanasema kura tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 ni ya Kenya kwanza. Mko tayari? Thank you, Bwana Excellency, Your Excellency. You can see we have sure votes here in the diaspora. For those who may not know me, I'm Adagala Beatrice, woman in Vihiga County. And I'm delighted to be here. And I've seen we have strong votes in the diaspora. We are assured these are our votes, Your Excellency, and your concerns have been taken carefully and clearly. And if you want to know a government that is valuing women, it is this government of Kenya Kwanza. If you want to know a government that is valuing youth and people living with disability, it is this government that you are going to install in August. And we want to assure you, as Kenyans living in the diaspora, your concerns will be handled and will be worked on very much with the people who are alert, sound mind, and not the Mugabe who is always asleep when issues are being discussed. So rest assured, in this coming government, we have very young minds, strong women and men who are ready to steer the nation of Kenya to a better level. There have been concerns here. Money goes to Kenya, you remit a lot of money. With no proper structures, with no proper plans, everything goes to drain. And that's why Kenyans are always crying of Furuliza. With this new coming government, the question of Furuliza will no longer be there. The economy is going to grow to a level that Kenya has never experienced before. And we are very certain it is going to happen. The issue of bills, Fululiza have talked about it, bills, paying bills in your home areas. With this coming government, the issue of health care will be taken care of and all will be well. I feel like I'm a preacher, man. I feel like preaching it. I feel like saying hallelujah. Nambarikiwe sana. Nipeleke salamu nyumbani.
Kabisa.
I'm very happy nimepata watu wangu wa Vihiga hapa.
Asante.
Na nyinyi kule nyumbani mpige simu mseme mama arudi 5:10.
Asante sana Mama Beatrice. That gentleman is called Owen Baya, MP from Kilifi North.
Yes, thank you very much. Your Excellency, my name, like you've heard, is Owen Baya, MP for Kilifi North, and mimi pia nimeishi huku. And I know what hustling is in these countries. Nyinyi, you're the best example of hustlers. I know I lived in Germany for some time, and I know guys who do 4 jobs. Wanakaa kwa nyumba masaa mawili, hiyo masaa ingine yote ni kazi. Na hiyo pesa yote, almost 3/4 of it, anapeleka nyumbani. Na kama kule nyumbani mambo ni mbaya, hata yeye mambo yake ni mbaya. That's why it is your duty to ensure that we put a government in the country that is responsible, that works, and that brings the economy up. It is your duty. So that the hard work that you put in here to make the money, ikifika kule nyumbani, it has value. So that we have policies that protect the people that you love, because wale ndio wapendwa wenu, and that's why you are here. So also it is your responsibility to also tell them how to vote kule nyumbani, so that we put a government that really has the heart of the people of Kenya at the center of it. But more importantly, I also want to say that as you stay here and as you work here, also invest back home. I know there is the north of Malindi, there's something that is coming up, a diaspora city, where members from the diaspora are contributing money and establishing a city there. That's a huge economic investment. I've talked to the chairman, and he keeps on talking to me about how we should help them get the land, secure the land, and all that. Don't be left out. I think the chairman lives in Ohio, something like that. It's also important that you be part of it. There's even another city in Kikambala that is also being done by people from the diaspora. I attended the groundbreaking of that city. It is being done by people from the diaspora. There's a lot of investment that are going on. And if you feel that ukipeleka ndugu yako pesa, hiyo nyumba itajengwa kwa hewa, you can actually join these other schemes so that you can actually develop the country. Not just pesa ya kupeleka watu hospitali peke yake, but ukipeleka hiyo nyumba ikijenga huko, you employ 5-6 people who are building and constructing the house. You're actually contributing to the GDP and growth of the country. But I also want to add something that the Deputy President said. I think in our plan, we are moving from just building infrastructure to productivity. I think if you listen to him carefully, you saw that he's actually moving towards a more productive economy. Productivity in terms of agriculture, productivity in terms of growing the economy of the country. And that's what you also need to invest in. Because he's saying, let's look at a cow that produces more than 15 liters. So what are you doing about it? He's saying, let's look at coffee bush that is producing more than 20 kilos. What are we doing about it in terms of our investment as diaspora, so that we can actually not just tap in, but also help him in his plan to grow the economy and increase productivity in the country. I thank you. I wish you all the best. God bless you. And ikifika tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8, mpige ile kura. Sasa kama tunaingia State House, tunaingia wote. Asanteni sana. Thank you.
I will ask Alice Wahome, Member of Parliament from Kandara.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We shouldn't really be speaking because you started and you've done a very, very major contribution in terms of your participation today. You've covered broadly all the issues, many issues, maybe not all, but many issues. But and Your Excellency, within the legal fraternity, there is many times lawyers will say when the subject has been fully covered, I have nothing useful to add. but for purposes of remaining relevant and consistent, because these people know me as somebody who has something to say, I want to just add on the question of this guy here, seated here, speaking that he has a plan. And he says his team and himself, they have a plan. Meaning you are now part of the team. Don't see yourselves as outside the team and the plan. It is your contributions that will make this plan work and carry on board those beautiful ideas that you have. And therefore, I want to encourage even written memorandums, because tonight may not be exhaustive enough. He has been called names. He has been given big chambers everywhere in the country. They speak of Weston, you have heard of those. They have smeared his character in very demeaning manner. But you know what? The spirit and the metal remains the same every day. And therefore, we also need to encourage His Excellency, because he's the bearer of our dream. Those people are no longer the bearers of our dreams. And I want to say that I'm part of that dream. And we have heard you talking about legislative interventions, policy interventions, administrative interventions. As members of parliament, there is a role that we can play. But I can tell you, between now and elections, nothing much can happen. These people have designed to work on BBIs. Even now they are waiting for something possibly to come from the Supreme Court. But if we are determined the way we are, that is a sideshow as far as we are concerned. So I want to say that William Ruto is the president that we are looking for ourselves. The other thing I want to say is that the chairman raised the question of the NEC participating in the party affairs, party organs. None of us here, when you are a candidate or an aspirant, you cannot be according to our constitution, you can't hold an office. And we haven't done any elections because, UDA is less than a year old. I think now we are going to our 10th month. And we shall be doing our elections. You are in touch with our SG. She's very effective in our secretariat. So I want to urge you to follow up on the activities of the party. After the general elections, we will be going into grassroots elections because, if you look at our constitution, the party structures start at the polling station. Maybe we will think of how to have a polling station polling stations in diaspora, because if we are voting here, then we need to have those structures of the party right from here. So there will be time to participate in those other activities. There is also diaspora provisions in our constitution. Take advantage of that, read through and see how you can participate in the party issues. May I say that the dream may have been interfered with, but we have not lost hope. You have heard these people trying to imagine that Mount Kenya vote is going to be taken to a market by one individual. And you know who is that individual. So si lazima tumtaje. We have said no. The vote of the individual will be cast by the individual. We have done sufficient support to the individual, that person, 10 years. We are now looking forward for another 10 years. And the Mlima vote will definitely make history, go down in history as that vote that decided that hatupangwingwi. So I don't want to say more than that. Your Excellency, thank you very much for even making it here. These people, I have been here before mobilizing for some other party a long time ago. I was trying to see whether I can see the old networks, but and I hope that you carry on. You know, sometimes you could start a good thing and then not carry it forward. Ensure that the structure and the UDA family and the Kenyan family is strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Let me ask Susan Kihika, the Senator of Nakuru.
Thank you. Asante, Your Excellency. I know you told me to talk like that, but ulinikosea kidogo. Ulisema nimekaa Amerika miaka 20. Na mimi I'm trying to look like a 28-year-old. Sasa shida iko wapi? So anyway, I'm very, very delighted to be here tonight. And even, unajua for us ladies boss, eh? Anyway. No, I'm teasing. Good evening. I'm very delighted to be here tonight. Actually, about back in 92, how old is that? How long ago is that? Woo, okay, I was in London. I started out schooling in London before I moved. Oh my gosh, that's worse, boss. I messed up kidogo. But I was never good in math. So I know from where you're sitting, I get it. I then went over there across to the US and continued my many years. So very briefly, because I know we don't have time, mine I'll speak a bit more, Chairman, more specifically on my experience a bit. Janet, you're my friend on Facebook. Former mayor tulikuwa na wewe US some time back. So when I look in here, Kaniaru, back there in Joro, I know. So anyway, when I look in the room, I know so many of you, and I just wanted to say that for myself, my journey has been a bit different kidogo, but I wanted to talk to you, to talk to that because of you, Chairman. I also one day woke up and decided that I wanted to move back to Kenya and take a dive into this difficult, crazy field of politics. Let me call it that way because it's a bit difficult. And at the time, the reason that I decided to go back when I went back is because the new constitution had just come into place, and I felt that maybe there was better room even for women, so to speak. So I left my law practice then, and I decided to hop on a plane about 14,000 kilometers back to Kenya with my 2 little girls and go figure this thing out. So talking to you about maybe perhaps sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith. And initially also I didn't get it because I went, and I always tell people sometimes it's nice to be ignorant. I know that sounds crazy, because if I knew what I know now, I probably would not have been brave enough to even try and do it. Because I went there and it was 6 months to the elections. Can you imagine? Like, you can't be here if it's 6 months to the elections. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but it's just going to be difficult. Because people start campaigning many years before, unfortunately. You know, it's just the truth. So if you're seeking a seat in these elections, you need to be home. You need to be in the ground. You need to be in the villages. I would go to some places, because then I had decided to run for a seat in Bahati. And Bahati borders, and I'm talking very fast, boss, Bahati borders Nakuru Town East constituency. And I would go in and I would talk and I would tell them what I'll do, and then I finish and I get out and somebody, and you do what you're supposed to do. Mnaelewa hapo? Kaniaru, I know you know. And then nikitoka hapo nasikia mtu ananiambia hapo hata haikuwa Bahati. Hiyo ilikuwa Nakuru Town East. Because I had been gone from Kenya about over 20 years, yeah? So, and I look back, and honestly, and in all honesty, and no offense, guys, I look back and I'm like, honestly, I should not have been a choice. Because I know I went to one meeting and they're like, so what are you going to do? And then I was telling them about this community policing, and everybody's looking at me like, what? You know, like I just didn't get it, yeah? So, but saying all that to say, then I didn't make it. I did not make it. I had spent all the money that had come with. I had my 2 girls looking at me and asking me, why would you bring us here when you told us that your dad took you to America so you can study, but you have taken away that opportunity for us and you have brought us here, and now you're done. So I put my furniture on, there's a diaspora, like expatriates website where you can sell your sofas. I took pictures, I put my pictures back up there, and I was like, I hadn't closed my law practice. By the way, I had a very lucrative immigration law practice, big corner office. So sometimes it's the comfort that we must decide to live. You know, sometimes it's hard to live when you're comfortable. So I decided I'm going to sell my chairs, get tickets for the 3 of us, me and my 2 girls, and we are going to get out of here. And then I saw a newspaper thing that a Sunday, like a week to go, and it was saying different, I was seeing speakers for different counties, assemblies, and they all seemed to be lawyers. And because my background was in law, I was like, why not try? But I was a bit also scared, because I was like, no, if you fail twice, it kind of kills your morale. Yeah, but I decided, why not try? Even if I fail, now I know, I close the Kenya chapter, kabisa, and now go become an American, you know? But anyway, it worked out. I ended up making speaker, ended up becoming a senator 5 years later, and His Excellency, who is a great supporter of the female gender too. Can we just have a clap for him? Because of him, and I'll say it out here today, because of him, I'm not even looking at him, I became the chief whip of the Senate of Kenya. But obviously, unceremoniously, simunajua. And by the way, the point of divergence, the reason we are here and not where we should have been, on a very practical example, the Prime Minister of the UK is Boris Johnson, right? Can you imagine Boris Johnson campaigning day and night for the party leader of Labour, the leader of opposition, Star? Is that even possible? Can you even see that in anywhere? Has that ever been done anywhere? So when I stand there and I say, I will not do this nonsense, I will not support who you are telling us to support, because I did not carry my kids across the seas and come all this way to come and leave my brain behind. Yeah? So we stand for something, and finally, we stand for something. And that is why we are here. You have heard our party leader, our candidate for president. You have heard the vision that he has for Kenya. He didn't come here and just tell you tibim tialala. Yeah? He told you what he's going to do once he sits there. I don't know how many of you saw, as I sit, an ad that was placed by Hillary Clinton when she was running for president, and it had a red phone on it and said, if the phone rings at 3 in the morning when the children are sleeping and everybody is asleep, and the phone rings at 3 a.m., who do you want picking that phone up in such a difficult world right now? Who is proven, who is tested, who is able to carry on, get in that office, get in those shoes, and immediately be able to get Kenya to the next place? He is right here. So, in conclusion, I ask you, and I've heard what you have said about the diaspora issues, which I totally understand. I totally understand. And especially on the dual citizenship, yes, because, you know, there was that issue of maybe perhaps your allegiance may not be to Kenya, perhaps, or maybe there is inherent conflict of interest, perhaps. But I also think both, when time comes, because I know God will give us this, because he knows we have a plan for Kenya, we need to revisit that. There are things that need to be revisited so that we can make it easier for those in the diaspora. So thank you very much. And for those of you from Nakuru, Muko wengi, Janet, yeah, you're in Molo, yeah? Yeah. So I'm also asking that if you talk to your relatives, and when you know here you don't really vote for the president, but pia mnaweza nisaidia when you talk to your relatives, museme, Governor ni mama around here. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Let me ask Kipchumba Murkomen.
Your Excellency, sir, the Kenyan family in the UK, good evening. Bwana asifiwe. Mmekuja kwa wingi sana. And you look very well, very good, very UDA, more than those of us who've come from Kenya. And I want to thank all of you for hosting us and for coming to welcome His Excellency, the Deputy President. actually came late because my flight arrived late. And then I went to the room to pretend to prepare myself, then I slept. But then I realized it was, so I called one of my colleagues and asked, is he still there? They said, the DP has just started speaking, come running. I said, even if I get the last 5 minutes, I'll be more than happy to meet you and see your faces, because I see you online all the time, and the support you give us, I want to say thank you very much. May God bless you. The DP ametuchomea leo kidogo, amesema nilikuwa huko nje for donkey years. But I'd like Susan, I'm not complaining. I was in the US for a short period of time. And some of the things that I know about diaspora is what I learned as a student when I was in America. And the commitment, the effort, the hard work of Kenyans living outside the country must always be appreciated. And let's remember, let's not forget, because many people forget back home, let's never forget that we've sent some of our best, most hardworking, most educated sons and daughters out of the country. And we did so with a purpose, because we believed that when they go get good education, it's for the betterment of our country. Then we failed to provide infrastructure that enables them to make that country better. And even though I have been in Parliament now for 9 years, I was made properly, I really understood the challenges you're going through even better with the presentation that we had from the US team, because they were making it on behalf of the entire diaspora. And even when I was coming here, I was listening to your presentation, it's the same issues. And I believe, like I said to them, that it is time now we provide mechanisms, structures within government. As the Deputy President promises in his government to have a Ministry of Diaspora, those of us who will be also in the legislature must now provide a committee of diaspora, so that its work will be to oversight the work of the government on matters related to diaspora of the executive. And I say this, let's, many Kenyans think if you talk about Kenyans in diaspora, it is equivalent to foreign affairs issues. Foreign affairs issues is dealing with other countries, and dealing with affairs of nations and international law issues that bring countries together. We are talking here about our own citizens, our own people, who are, so that is why I appreciate what the DP is saying, that it must be given its own independent and proper management outside the usual issues of foreign affairs, so that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will have a diaspora person, the Ministry of Diaspora will have their diaspora attaché at the embassy. That is his work, that the work of the attaché is fully to focus on diaspora issues. Then the other issues of immigration, trade, and all that will be dealt with by the other attachés in the various embassies. I also want to say here that I have been informed by some of you who live in diaspora that some who became, who lost their citizenship before the 2010 constitution are still struggling to get back their citizenship, because the regulations say that unless the cabinet secretary signs for you to get back your passport, you may not be able to get back. I think that is an issue that we will go back home and relook at it, so that it goes back to the Director General of Immigration, and it's handled with all other immigration issues, so that you don't have to create this bureaucracy of the big man having to sign your whatever, and before you reach him to sign your documentation, what happens in between, yeah? You have to greet him and kneel before him and use an agent and a cousin and all that. We want to reduce that bureaucracy so that we deal with the issue of corruption. Otherwise, I want to say I thank you, people of UK. We love you, we support you. We will do a better job, yeah? By the way, the DP made me learn that in the Senate, we are too many who have lived out of the country. Susan, for the 2 or 3 years, she has said, although the DP, because I don't want to say the DPs, right? We have Senator Olekina, over 20 years. Senator Malakai Turkana, over 30 years. So it is possible to live here and still come and make contribution back home. I think the issue we just need to deal with is whether a certain cadre of leaders, MCA and MP, even if you have a citizenship of another country, should be allowed to serve. Then, like many countries in the world, just say for president, you must not have a citizenship of another country, because it doesn't stop people coming to serve the way the others have come to serve just by virtue of having gained citizenship of another country. Thank you very much. Na Mungu awabariki.
Yes, we have a gentleman here called Robo. Just 1 minute, Robo.
Amjambo. Mimi naitwa Robo, MCA from Mandera. Pia ni aspiring member of parliament for Kamakunji, Nairobi. Number one, I want to thank the diaspora team who have made their time to be here today. Number two, I want to thank His Excellency, the Deputy President, who is very busy, who went around to US and to UK, using his private money so that he can able to listen to the people who are living in diaspora, so that when he is making his manifestos, I think you are aware on 15th of March, we are having the National Delegate Conference for UDA, whereby we endorse our Deputy President to be our presidential candidate. And finally, that at that time, the Deputy President, when he's going around, he's trying to get what is called public participation, especially diaspora Kenyans who are not living in Kenya, so that when he's doing his manifesto, he can be able to merge what other Kenyans who are living in diaspora and the other Kenyans who are living in Kenya, so that this issue of how to build one nation and one country to be together at his manifesto. Thank you very much. God bless you.
We ask Governor Mvurya, Salim Mvurya, the Governor of Kwale.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and the leadership of diaspora. Good evening. Bwana asifiwe. Assalamu alaikum. I'm really humbled, Your Excellency, because it's a humbling experience to be here in the UK and to feel at home the way I have felt. Because in fact, you could mistake this for an NDC. You can see the UDA colors are all over, and I think this is in good spirit. I'm really inspired. And what I want to say is that with the Deputy President, we have a leader. I have been on the other side. I was elected 2013 on ODM ticket. So I worked with the other competitor, and famously tukachapwa viboko mbili mbili. So I'm very much aware. 2017, I moved to Jubilee, and we have really worked together with the DP. If you want to know a leader who means what he says, is a leader who is very specific. For most politicians, they will borrow heavy words like liberation, like Mandela moment, and you can't hold them to account. If you vote a candidate based on Mandela moment, what will you ask them when they fail to deliver? Si mnaona hii iko wazi. If you elect a candidate who is telling you we are now doing a third liberation. You know, I have been here before because I'm an alumni of the IDS Institute here at the University of Sussex. I left here in 2011, and actually 2011 I made my declaration to run for governor in Brighton. So in IDS as development students, we had a corner which you said glossary of development vocabulary. In that corner, all the words are new words. Now we have new word which we put in the corner, which is called passion. Liberation is there, governance is there. So most of our politicians have been picking the vocabularies there without any definite, specific areas that you can hold them to account. When you listen to Dr. William Ruto, you are very specific. We want to deal with the economy. We want to lift the standards of living of our people. And I think that is where we should be voting. Tusahau ile mambo ingine. And by the way, we have no crisis to unite our people. The crisis we have is that of the economy. So maneno ingine ya umoja, there's no crisis. It is part of the glossary we will put at the corner. General words which you can't help people to account. For the first time in our history, we have a leader who is coming to talk to you, to ask for your priorities. I'm sure those who have spoken before you were already in the seat. Sindio? Those who made diaspora, they were already presidents, so they did not have the inspiration to address your issues. But here we have a leader who has come to us, and not just here, all the 47 counties, to discuss specific priorities. I urge you, and I can see you already converted. You have promised 700 votes. I want to inspire you, to inspire those who are at home, to vote for Dr. William Ruto, to vote for Uda, to vote for Kenya Kwanza, so that we form government. Lastly, Chairman, you know there are also very specific opportunities in counties, because part of our plan in UDA and Kenya Kwanza is to make sure that we profile the priorities in county governments. So investments can be very specific. The bottom-up economic model can also be specific to counties. So as you prioritize your investment, I think it would be important that you also see what is available in the counties, and then you can be able to invest. Otherwise, nimefurahi sana. Nimefurahi tena zaidi, na furaha yangu kubwa ni kukutana na huyu mheshimiwa Kanete ambaye nimekuwa tukisoma kwa gazeti kwamba ni kansela upande huu. Pale Brighton nilifanya kazi na makansela sana wakati nikifanya utafiti na mambo hii ya kuhusisha wananchi. Kwa hivyo nikafurahi sana kwamba ulichaguliwa. Kwa hivyo mimi sina mengi, na waomba sana, hii ndio serikali, na serikali hii haitaundwa, tunaiunda pamoja. Tunaiunda pamoja, na ndio maana masuala haya yote ambayo yamezungumzwa hapa ni ya kipaumbele na ni muhimu, na tumehakikishiwa na kiongozi wetu yatashughulikiwa. Kule kwingine bado ni hadithi ya Bunuasi, na wale wanafanya hadithi bado ni wa Kenya. Watapata jukumu ingine ya kuzungumza na watoto wetu, lakini mambo ya uongozi wa nchi tumuunge mkono Mheshimiwa Ruto, aunde serikali na Kenya iende mbele. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. Let me ask our dear sister Anne Waiguru, the governor of Kirinyaga.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya and the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. I said, sorry, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya and the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. You know, all protocols observed, Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You know, I'm a bit distracted because I have some neighbors there who I was sitting next to, and I won't mention. But when the Deputy President was speaking, and then when my colleague was speaking, I won't say who said what, but they reminded me that nilikuwa kwa hiyo timu ya reggae. Lakini ninawaambia, you know, niliokoka. You know, even the Bible speaks about those people who came. Kuna wale walianza saa 12 asubuhi. Kuna wale waliandikwa saa 4. Kuna wale waliandikwa saa 6. Na bado kuna time ya wale watakuja saa 9. Si ndio? Na wengine saa 10. Mwishowe mshahara ni ule ule. Kutangulia sio kufanya nini? Bora ufike. Then I'm trying very hard not to look at that side because there was quite a number of things they said which have made my day. I've actually even requested Murkomen to walk out so I'm able to talk. We have a problem, and you have heard from the Deputy President that we have a problem in Kenya. We have a problem with a regime that puts itself above the Constitution and the law many times. And we're not just saying it because we're on this side of the divide. There is evidence by the fact that there is over 300 court orders or more against that government. That tells you they've tried to do things that are in violation of the Constitution. Sometimes that regime puts itself even above or in the place of God. They want to decide who becomes what. Wewe, shuka chini. Wewe mama yako ni nani? Rudi hivi. You, we don't know you. You can't go there. Even to the extent, even if they don't say it directly, to say that the Deputy President doesn't qualify to be the President of Kenya because he does not come from a certain pedigree. That is putting yourself in the place of God. Mimi nimesema niliokoka. And we have refused to associate ourselves with that side. And we went to the side of hope and the side of God. That is what we believe. So we're not here just because you've heard what the Deputy President has said himself. He has a plan for Kenya. He doesn't just tell you, back me. He tells you why you should back him. And I don't believe that there's anybody who's going to walk out today unconvinced that this man deserves to be given the opportunity to lead the country as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya. Now, from an economic perspective, so that I don't talk for long, and I know he has talked about the bottom-up economic model. There could be people here who have studied economics. But the bottom-up economic model is actually an economic, scientific model that will result in economic growth. If you want to grow an economy, you have two options. And I think I've said this before, maybe some of you have heard me say it. You can intervene on the fiscal side of the economy, or you can intervene on the monetary side. Now, on the monetary side, you deal with issues of money supply and issues such as the exchange rate. Now, you have heard, we don't have any money. That is why we don't save. So you cannot actually intervene on that side. The opportunity does not arise. You can't actually touch, we don't have money supply at this point in time. Now, on the fiscal side, you have two choices. You can go and tweak with the tax issues, play around with the taxes, increase, decrease here and there, and then you'll be able to expand the economy depending on the interventions that you make. you already know that Kenyans are overtaxed. Right now, the Deputy President cannot say he's going to run for the seat of the President and say, well, I'm going to grow this economy by increasing your taxes. Kenyans, wherever they are, they want their taxes reduced. So the only other option left is actually on the expenditure side, which is really now what he's telling you is the bottom-up economic model. If you invest the amount of resources that you have had that will be invested in the lower part of the economy of Kenya will grow roughly in the first year, and I'm speaking from experience and I'll tell you why, by about minimum of 5 to 6, roughly, first year. If he puts that 100 billion in SMEs and puts the 50 billion, wherever it is he has said, in housing and all that, you will span economic growth in the first year over 5. By the second and third, we will be at probably 8 or 9%. And I'll tell you, because when I was in Treasury, I was the head of the Economic Stimulus Program. And the Economic Stimulus Program that actually turned our economy from a -2 growth rate to 8% during Kibaki's time. And that time we only invested 25 billion shillings only into the economy. We pushed it at the bottom, and that's the impact that we got. Everybody talks about President Kibaki turning around the economy. So we are here because we believe it. We have seen the program he has given us. He has talked to us. You have heard he understands it himself. It's not just theory. And we believe that this will bring hope to very many Kenyans. 80% of Kenyans are way below the poverty line. On the issue of the programs of the bottom-up, in Kirinyaga, you have heard about the things that we're doing because things are being imported. In Kirinyaga, we have a program called Wezesha Kirinyaga. And I'll just say one thing about Wezesha Kirinyaga. It's a bottom-up economic model. Why is it a bottom-up economic model? We look for farmers to empower them because they do not have that credit. They cannot borrow. And if they borrow, they can't pay. We provide them with resources to be able to put up a program for poultry. And so we get a group of 10, and we give them 1,250 chicks, and we provide them with feeds for 6 months, and we build the chicken house for them so that they can produce eggs. And in Kirinyaga, we're now producing about 1 million. We're now heading to 2 million eggs on that program a year, a month. Why did we do that? We did it because one day I was reading the newspapers, and somebody said that we're importing 10 million eggs from Uganda every month. Why would Kenyans be importing eggs? This is the same concept of the bottom-up. So if you don't think it can work, it can actually work. All those people in that program have increased their income by about 1,000 shillings each per day. 1,000 shillings each per day for a farmer translates to about an extra 30,000 shillings a month on just one program. And these are people who did not have that income at all. So imagine you have a poultry line, then you have a dairy, and we're also doing the AI where we have, the dairy intervention where we're increasing the production of milk in Kirinyaga from 5 liters to 15 liters by, again, ensuring that we're giving proper feeds, but also improving the breed that we're giving out to our farmers. So it can be done. It's not theory, and it is really, really for the country of Kenya, something that will bring us a lot of hope. This is the only thing I would say. I've been on this side mostly because of loyalty, but then your conscience also can pull you to the other side because of reason and because of hope. This country of Kenya, where we are at, the way it is at is unsustainable. You cannot sustain the country of Kenya the way it is today. Having the 4 richest people controlling over 80% of the resources in that country. It cannot work. It's not sustainable. And even if you manage to threaten, push people, arrest, it will reach a point that it will break. So we must find a solution for our country. And the solution for our country at this point in time, I'm not only persuaded, I am convinced and I'm convicted that that solution lies with William Samoei Ruto. So I think what we may ask for you, everybody has talked about the things that you've requested for and the things that you'll be given, so I will not go there. I know that you've already committed, Your Excellency, to give them a ministry that deals with their issues. I think what we will ask, let me also be on this side asking the diaspora. Niwaombe, ama niwaulize. This party, we will not win by just sitting and talking to ourselves in echo chambers. We stand a very good chance of winning. In fact, I'm coming short of saying we will win by the grace of God. I think we all need to play our part. You need to play a part also. Diaspora is most likely going to be voting. We have very many people in diaspora, here and in other countries. You are the voices that can reach them, explain to them, convince them, and bring them to our side so that we ensure that in diaspora, over 90%, in fact, if possible, 95% of the votes come to this side of UDA Kenya Kwanza. That is a request. For you to do that, you'd have to give of your time. You would have to give of your resources. You'd have to drive to somebody's home. You'd need to speak to your people at home also. Maybe even support the party or the local chapter. That is really what, on behalf of the team, because we have also given quite a bit, make a slight request. And because I heard there are very many preachers in the room, I don't know whether anyone knows what, I think it's 2 Corinthians 8:7 says. I know, and just as you excel, and just as you excel in everything, in faith, in speech, in knowledge, in earnestness, and in your love for us, see that you also excel in this grace of giving. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Anne. Let me ask finally the governor of Turkana, Judge Fatma Nok.
Asanteni sana. Bwana asifiwe. Bwana asifiwe. Salamu alaikum. Asanti sana. Your Excellency, I appreciate being here and to address our fellow citizens out here in the UK. This is great. And I think after the Deputy President has spoken, there is very little we can really say because we believe in what he has said. I serve two roles. One is as a governor of Turkana. I'm concluding my term. I've only have 5 months to finish up, and I'm not refusing with a seat. Neither am I forcing it on to the people of Turkana, like what some people are trying to do. But I'm also serving as the head of William Ruto's presidential campaign. And we have a big team. It's not a small team. It's a team of competent professionals that is working with him for quite some time now. I think from that moment you heard that the media back home, the bias media was saying, Ruto has no plan. He's just, this is just political gimmicks. I think they didn't know what they were saying, because that plan was there. And indeed, you have just enriched that plan. Because as constituent or county number 48, you have given your views of what you think are priorities, and these are views that are going to inform the charter you are going to sign with the Deputy President. I believe very early in April you will have to sign that charter, April or May, along with all the other 47 counties who are currently engaging in discussion to set their business plan and the priorities. So it's completely different, and this hasn't been done this way before in Kenya. This is the first time that people can actually be told, tell us the solutions to the problem you are facing, and government will invest into those solutions. Government will prioritize and put resources into that. And I want to thank my colleague, Governor Igoro, for emphasizing what the bottom-up is, on how we will grow ourselves out of debt through the bottom-up, how we will grow ourselves out of poverty. And that is a major plan. When you hear a competitor, actually I served for almost 10 years or 12 years with Raila Odinga. I was his vice chair in the party, and I think Owen Baya was the deputy organizing secretary then. But we left because we did not see a plan. We did not see the interest of the people were not being served. It was just a story, a story, a story. At the end of the day, very good manifestos are being put aside and other things are begun. But here we have that plan, the bottom-up, and it is a strong plan. It is detailed. It is going to refocus the government of Kenya to be more aggressive in commercial diplomacy. And I know many of you are here, not only sending money, but you want to position yourselves as to take advantage of investments out here and back home. And I think that is going to be the aggressiveness that bottom-up economic plan is going to be emphasizing. A critical component which your chair and Secretary General have spoken into is about the Constitution. I saw you quoting quite a number of articles in the Bill of Rights and other sections saying, this one gives us this right, it's not been effected. UDA, through presidential candidate William Ruto, promises to implement the Constitution to the letter. Not to amend the Constitution and change it, but to implement it, because there are still very good things inside. The entire area of Bill of Rights has very good things. The entire area of environment and natural resources, the entire section on devolution, the entire section on financing. I think all those are areas that we will still want to see the benefits being ripped into. And all that can be, we can be able to get it through the bottom up. But of course also giving the independent institutions, the judiciary, the IEBC, the EACC, the National Police Service, the independence that the Constitution provides them and the resources to be able to deal with issues, matters, rule and law, and corruption. And I think it is so critical we have that commitment. I have not heard that one from Raila. He doesn't talk about that because he doesn't want to commit on anything. And I think just as my colleague Mvurya has said, he wants to talk about Mandela Movement, because Mandela Movement, for a show in Nakuru, I mean, how can you be accountable to that mama on a Mandela Movement? They don't even know what it is. But at least you can be accountable to say, I will help Mama Mboga get fair credit. I will help the Boda Boda guy get this specific thing. I will help the people in diaspora be able to process their documentation within a very short time. You know, that is a commitment. And I think for you even who are voting and for those others who have undecided, I think you have the opportunity to turn them and tell them, seriously, this is a guy who has a plan and is ready to work for Kenyans wherever. And I can tell you for a fact, we were in the States the last 1 week, we are here now. The reception has been very positive, even from non-Kenyans, because they see this is a serious group and this is a serious candidate. So let's stand with him. We have 5 months to election. It is a lot of time. 5 months is not very few. It's a lot of time. It is also a very short period. How can we be able to make sure that the deputy president becomes the president of Kenya, so that what he promises is fulfilled? So that for the first time, millions of Kenyans can directly benefit with money and support from government to be able to improve their lot. We have a responsibility, all of us. You have a responsibility here in the diaspora. The most critical number 1 is voting. The 700 of you, I know many of you are not, a number of you also are not voting. So, but we must vote, every man and woman, to 100% of that 700. Second, your moral support, your financial support to the campaign is going to be very critical. Very, very critical. We have begun a campaign, and you will be seeing updates on the internet and the blog, so that you can follow the UDA candidate wherever he goes and wherever he plans. So that will be available. What is he doing tomorrow? What is he doing next month? All that information will be getting to the letter as we move forward. We have also beginning a campaign of adopting a polling station, because we want to protect that vote. First, before I give details, William Samoei Ruto and the party UDA is promising a fair and free election. He has been on record that he will accept the results of these coming elections. He has been on record that we will not entertain violence among members of UDA. So UDA must be peaceful during this election. And he has also been on record with a response that has not been provided, that our competitors must publicly commit. They have not yet. As usual, they have not yet, because that is their route of negotiating handshakes. They have not. And we will continue insisting that they make that commitment of agreeing to the results of elections. So it is critical, mobilize the vote. It is critical, protect the vote. I know you have a big following, relatives and friends back home. It is your chance to make sure that those relatives vote where you think results are going to be coming. And for the first time, majority of Kenyans are going to be benefiting. We're beginning a campaign of protecting the vote at the very lowest voting level, the polling center and the polling stations. For your information, we have about 55,000 polling stations, 24,000 polling centers, where the vote is going to be cast, the vote is going to be counted, 290 constituencies where both the count and the tallying, including the presidential vote, is going to be done, which will be final. So it's critical areas where we must protect the vote. We are telling our competitors, protect your vote. We will protect ours. This is where we can be able to make contributions. You can easily adopt your own home polling station or polling center from the village where you come from. You could decide as a group to adopt a ward. You could decide to adopt a constituency or a county. That is your contribution to this campaign that we are looking at, so that the days preceding 9th of August and until the vote is counted, we make sure that we have very good vote protection, and we have very few incidences of vote theft. We have also asked the international community and the civil society and the media to make sure that they have deployed as much as possible to all these polling stations, to all the 290 constituency tallying centers, so that at least they can help us be able to relay accurate information and to confirm the results that IBC will be announcing in those stations. Kwa hivyo, we have a very big journey to work together if we have to see the benefits of what we've been told. And I believe that all the issues you've raised here on the diaspora are doable. So let's work together to make sure that they are realized under this presidency. And I can tell you, Raila will be following us here. He will follow us here because he has no agenda. He will follow us here. He will tell you he will fix the economy. He will do this. But listen to him keenly. There will be no commitment he will make, specific commitment. So thank you, Your Excellency. I know that you will win this election. We know you will win. But these 5 months, we must get a win of 70%. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Governor Nanok. Let me, you guys dared us to a meeting. And now I'm sure you must be wondering whether you got the bargain you asked for. I know we have taken quite a while, but I'm very sure that you wanted to listen to these great men and women, their experiences, their wisdom, their understanding of issues. And let me say to all of you, we appreciate that you have also taken time to listen to us. We are confident that we leave here better informed in every way, and that you will be able to make the correct choices, because we believe that you can only make the quality of your decision is dependent on the amount of information that you have, so that you can make the right decision. So we wish you well in your hustles and in everything that you do in this great country. We look forward to working together with you as we focus into the future. My good brother, Musalia Mudavadi, came late because we were using different routes. So, but he's with us. He'll be in this town later today. David Ndi, Dr. David Ndi will be with us later today. Ababu Namwamba will be with us later today. Mohammed Hussein and other members of this team who are using a different route. I convey their apologies for not making it to this meeting, but they will be with us beginning tomorrow in the other engagements that we have. So asanteni sana, nawatakia heri. I know there were people who would have wanted to ask questions, but it is 8 o'clock, and we have another engagement that was pending from 6:30. But to be fair, let me just take 3 questions. This young man here, that gentleman there, and the lady. There is a lady somewhere. A lady, you're not a lady. A lady somewhere here. Okay, let's start with the lady.
Thank you, Deputy President.
Straight to the question.
My question is, I'm so worried when it comes to the time of election. And this time, how can you assure us? Because as for me, I have corrected people to go to the registration at the embassy. We have got card and we are ready to vote. But how can you assure us that your vote will not be stolen?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The gentleman there.
Hello, thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Charles. I'm a staff nurse working at London Northwest University Trust Hospital. I have a problem with the nurses, kindly, Mr. Deputy President. When our president came here to implement the nursing agreement, unfortunately, it is really, really hard for now nurses to really come to the UK. It's terrible, to be honest with you. We are the only country in the amber list, if you could check on how the UK normally allow nurses to come here. So basically, if you could assist us to get a better plan and a better deal like other countries like Philippines, and then if you could please, because I believe God will give you the opportunity to lead the country. I'm a bit nervous, oh my God.
It's okay. No, let him finish. Let him finish.
I'm from Dandora. It's a privilege to talk to you, I'll be honest. Yeah, it's a privilege to talk to you. And if you could assist us kindly, nurses, and for the opportunity and for the healthcare system that we give these guys over here. My own is, my dad has hypertension back home, and I feel when I take good care of patients here, unfortunately, back home, I send money for him to get treated. I wish if we could have such a health system, back home, and also for the nurse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was that gentleman there.
Mheshimiwa Rais.
Yeah.
Nina swali hapa.
That's all right. That's all right. Yes.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President, thank you very much for giving us the time. Mine is more looking at opportunities for veterans. There was a time we spoke to the Commonwealth Graves Society here, and they mentioned that there is a lot of people who fought in the World War and they have not been commemorated. So I wanted to ask whether there is a way that when you're doing the proposal, you can add that, because we are working together with our 254 chair in that consideration. So that could be something that could be added.
Thank you.
And we can work together.
Thank you. Let me start with him. Just hold your horse. Yeah. You will be next. Just will be next. Yeah, we'll give the fellow with disability, don't worry. Let me start with that gentleman. In our delegation, as you have heard, we are going to specifically have a charter with the diaspora. And we want that charter with the diaspora to be negotiated so that we have the priority issues. And amongst them, exactly what you're saying, David Ndii is going to be here. He is our economic guru. He is going to be here specifically to engage with you as we did with your colleagues in America on the priority areas. I recommend that because we are here for the next 2 days, that Dr. Masera, please facilitate so that the meeting with the people here through the chairman can be, because the people in the US documented, they gave us a written submission. If we can get the same from you, it will inform our priority list as we develop the charter with the diaspora. That's one. My good brother, the young man from Dandora, you have spoken to the heart of an issue that even had escaped my mind. Today, we are having a conversation that Kenyans in diaspora are contributing 400 billion shillings to our economy every year. They are the biggest stabilizers of our foreign exchange challenge. But we are not having the other conversation. The more important conversation is it possible for us to take it from 400 billion every year to 1 trillion? how do we leverage on our human capital? Because we have one of the best human capital anywhere in the world. How do we leverage on that human capital to grow the economy of our country? How do we do what the young man is saying there? How do we facilitate more nurses to work in the international space rather than many of the nurses, hanging around in our country when they cannot get an opportunity to work? Everybody who cannot get an opportunity to work in Kenya, is it possible for us to facilitate them to work elsewhere? To work in the diaspora. I think that's really the conversation we need to have. And we could easily take the earnings from the diaspora, like other countries have done, from 400 billion every year to 500, 1 trillion, and we can actually use it as an effective tool deliberately to sell our human capital. It is because you market what you have. We may not have gold, we may not have oil, but we have a human resource that we can use to make money. So that's really the conversation we have, and I agree with you that we need to make it that much more easy. I think when we signed the agreement, it produced the opposite result. Instead of making it easier for Kenyans to come to the UK, it has made it slightly difficult because now it brought in other issues. So we will need to straighten up those issues so that the original intention is achieved and we can get many more Kenyans into the diaspora to work and help support our economy as they support their families. And then the good lady has said, how do we make sure that this vote is not stolen? Let me give you my word. Yeah? Let me give you my word. This vote will not be stolen. Yeah? And if you look at me properly, I am not the type of a person that anybody can steal their vote from me. It's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible. And I have often said this, just for you to understand. We ran against the handshake people in Msambweni. And this man led our team in Msambweni, this Salim Vuria. He led our team in Msambweni. We defeated the handshake group in Msambweni. We ran against the handshake group in Juja. We defeated them in Juja. We ran against the handshake people in Kiambaa. And we defeated them in Kiambaa. If they could not steal the vote in Kiambaa, tell me how they're going to steal the vote anywhere. They will not steal nobody's vote. The only thing they can do is maybe to cause violence. But that, too, we will not allow them. That is why we have put a lot of pressure, and that's why you see them complaining in Nairobi. Yeah? That they are complaining that we have told the international community that there must be free, fair, and peaceful elections. If they are not, if they have no plan of doing monkey games or causing a situation that will not be peaceful, then why are they complaining? They should be saying, the same way we are saying that we are committing ourselves, number one, to run a peaceful campaign, and number two, to accept the results of the election. Why is it possible, or why is it not possible for the candidate on the other side to make a simple commitment that they will accept the outcome of the election, whether it goes either way. And you see, it becomes much more pronounced if you are dealing with a notorious candidate who has never accepted the outcome of any election. You know, so that's why we are telling them they must go back public, unequivocally commit that they will accept the outcome of this election, so that we can be on the same we can be on the same plane. So that's my commitment to you. Those people, they will not even try. We have to go. We have to go. Okay, let me, that gentleman. Yeah, just let's hold it. Yes, sir. I agree with you that it's a good idea. Maybe you are telling us that a bond does not necessarily be a government bond, that you can have also a political party. Just wait. You can also have a political party bond. Financial analysts will, you know, we do not want to do something on the basis of guesswork. Financial analysts will have to tell us whether a political party has the capacity, you know, to underwrite a bond, you know. So we'll have to work it out, but you will have to accept that Rome was not built in one day. It is a process, and we have had you. Sawa? Let me, the lady behind there. We have one lady behind there.
A disability question, Your Excellency.
And then the gentleman with disability. Okay, the gentleman with disability.
Thank you very much, all of you, those who did to hide this place and invited us all here, and to Your Excellency, the Deputy. Number one, where is Adam Barredo Ali? Number two, yeah, our representatives are paid very highly throughout the world, yeah? They also got related benefits, yeah? So, from my perspective and where I come from Northeastern Province, if you get this, if you are elected, I would like the benefit that are given, extra benefit that are given to Northeastern or Northern region, or disadvantaged regions, to be regulated with the extra benefit that are paid. Because if you go to the Constitution, from Thursday, all the MPs that are allowed to go back to their constituencies and sort out the problems. They are paid mileage, they are paid entertainment, they are paid a lot of things. Northeastern people, when they are elected, you never see them, or most of them, until five years are over. Number three, equal opportunity, okay? Women and men, or those who are elected, we must play equal opportunity. The 47 counties with the new constitution, we are proud of the modern one. They give women 47 opportunities, extra seats. Forget about the other seats on competitive. On our women, we would like to have the principle of Susan Kiiga and Mother Karua and many of them, like the woman from Vihiga tonight. Yeah, principle number 1, transparency, equality, everything. Because these 47, what have they done differently from men? What are we proud of with this, this revolution? They brought new extra women into seats. In my region, I don't see them, or whatever. So we need equal opportunities for women to contribute.
And another question on Northeastern, His Excellency.
I think just so that I don't forget, so that
Deputy President.
Just hold on, so that I don't forget. I think it's good, just only fair, everybody to ask one question, because if you ask 3 questions, it becomes complicated. But let me try and just respond to Honorable Aden Duale was with us in America. We have sent him back to Nairobi because there is an assignment he must do. That's why he didn't come here. So he is landing today in Nairobi because he has an assignment. Number 2, the issue of Northeastern and whether they are treated the same as the rest of the country. Let me tell you, amongst the highest paid members of parliament on mileage and all those other allowances are members from Northeastern Kenya. That is for a fact, and they will tell you. In fact, people like Ichungwa here, they suffer. They don't get any money because from his place from Nairobi to his constituency is only 15 kilometers. So he rarely gets any money out of that mileage maneno. So if they don't show up in Northeastern, it's not because they are not being remunerated to go back home. It must be a different story. On the third one, I disagree with you. Women have brought a lot of value in the legislature in Kenya. I know many people want to complain that they don't see the value of women members of parliament. I want to tell you, my good brother, there are many women that are running today for MPs, and I know 4 of them that we first nominated, they went and ran for those offices and won. So we must accept that affirmative action is necessary for us to bring the level of representation of both gender in the governance of our country. And you can never run away from that particular fact. Maybe I would agree with you that the women MP position should be treated like the parliamentary ones by making sure that there is adequate resources given to the women MPs so that their representation and their participation can be much more effective than what it is at the moment. I think those are the issues you raised. Yes, gentlemen? And then there is a lady behind there.
Mheshimiwa, I heard you speaking about economy. I never heard you speaking of security. Our people are dying like a chicken every day. Have been slaughtered by these people called the devils, Al-Shabaab. What is your opinion, Mr. Deputy President?
My speaking about the economy was deliberate. It was very deliberate. Because I believe very strongly that part of what makes our young people available for recruitment into terrorist networks is because they have no opportunities. In fact, in America, we were having a conversation, and Ababu Namwamba was telling us about a situation where young people in Budalangi were actually being recruited into terrorist networks. Not because of any other reason. It is because economic opportunity is not available to them. Part of dealing with the economy and making sure that we have jobs, we will dry the wells of where the terrorist network get the young people they recruit. So security in our country will be, we will deal with security significantly. Even if you look at what is going on in the Kerio Valley belt, many of the people participating in cattle rustling, and we had ugly incidences yesterday in Baringo of people being victims. Actually, several people being killed because of cattle rustling. It is informed by people not going to school, and secondly, the lack of economic opportunities for them to participate meaningfully. And therefore, the only economic activity they find is to go and steal the neighbor's cows. So we must sort out the economy. But I hear you, security is a major issue, and we cannot talk about all the issues. We have a certain list of priorities that we believe if we deal with, it will significantly dent the challenges of the other sectors, but we have a plan specifically on what to do with security. Excuse me? You see, when you are dealing with the whole space of economic development, even just having a proper road goes ahead to make sure that you reduce incidences of insecurity. So you cannot look at security in isolation. You have to look at security as part of the global picture. You must provide opportunity for economic development. You must provide infrastructure. You must provide money for enterprise development. The net effect is that you have a much more restful society, and incidences of insecurity go down. But that is a very fair engagement. Security is going to be part of our plan, but as a matter of priority, we believe it can be dovetailed into the whole economic development agenda. Thank you. One last one, the lady there. Okay, maybe we allow everybody to ask their question, and then.
Oh, hello, good afternoon, Mr. President.
Yes.
Right, I just want to say you've come to Europe and America and you found all these brilliant brains. So I don't want you to go back and then it's a chapter closed, okay? I want us to have a structure that begins from now, that involves the diaspora. It can be a voluntary program. Some people can say, I'll have a month to go to Kenya, I can come and be a part of a certain program that we create that involves all these people. Because these people, if you say to them to go to Kenya, most of them can pay their own trips.
Yes.
But they want to be part of a structure that is honest as they work in this country in an honest way, because they've been giving their views, which most of you see, but I can trust these people more than I can trust anyone in Kenya. Because if they say you're not going to take anything by stealing, I know they will stick by that word. So if you say in places that
there, I will just allow everybody to speak. Yes.
And good evening, everybody. And I hope everybody here represents their communities. wherever we are in Kenya. I'm representing my community, and I really appreciate your hard work. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President. I believe you're already President. And my question is, how will your government ensure that women will have an equal chance to make something useful their lives? For example, any system that will be put in a place to celebrate women. For example, did you have any plan for women? Because from Northeastern.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
His Excellency, we will collect the questions and we send them to you through the chair so we can allow you to go for your next meeting.
No, let's allow the gentleman there who is lifting up his hand. He can say something.
Thank you, Your Excellency. My one is just an observation. Last year I was in Kenya. I run a security company, and I was looking for a car, the Probox. The car that I got was about 100 to 150 kilometers. And that's the newest car you can buy in Kenya. Here we have cars which are like 50,000 miles on the clock, and yet we are not allowed to take them to Kenya. So why are we having an age limit when you are importing and exporting cars? Can you, when you go to the State House, can you scrap that as well, please?
Okay. There is a lady there who has something to say. Yes, Madam, the lady behind there. Give her a microphone. There is a lady behind there. Yes.
Thank you very much, Deputy President, for everything we've heard. I think I'm persuaded to actually now move on. You've given us